Welcome you all to this first panel discussion of Metro Rail India Virtual Summit 2020. Hope you all are maintaining a good immunity and keeping yourself healthy and safe. This pandemic has taught us all the art of exploring the virtual world and adapting to the new normal. We have been doing webinars so far, but this is our first attempt to host a live day-long summit, and we are delighted to see such a fabulous response. I thank you all for taking time out. My name is Indrajit Sauji. I head the construction and design vertical for ITP in India, and I'll be your host. Topic for today's discussion is development of urban metro systems and their role in future mobility. And we have a very powerful panel of speakers who are authority on this subject. Now, let me quickly introduce the eminent panelists, starting with Mr. Pramod Ahuja, Director Works, MMRDA. Welcome, Mr. Ahuja.
Thank you, Mr. Indrajit, for having me here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Devendra Mishra, Executive Director, Rolling Stock, Metro Pune. Welcome, Devendra ji.
Thank you, Indrajit. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Mr. Anil Kumar Saini, Chief Operating Officer, L&T Metro Hyderabad. Welcome, Mr. Anil.
Thank you, Indrajit. Thank you very much.
Mr. Raghavendra Pandey, CGM Planning and Design, Mega Metro. Welcome, Mr. Pandey. Mr. Surjit Madan, Head Rail Systems, AMRC. Welcome, Mr. Madan. Today's session will be moderated by Mr. MP Naidu, Superannuated Director Projects, L&T Metro Rail Hyderabad. Welcome, Mr. Naidu. With the Metro Rail Policy 2017 in place, several cities are ready to roll out works to develop their respective urban transit system. Keeping this in mind and considering the number of metro rail projects coming up in the country, today we are going to discuss and debate state-of-the-art technology to make urban rail system more efficient and reliable, how we can optimize operations and maintenance expenditure, scaling safety parameters that are needed to run the systems intelligently and efficiently, strategies to improve India's approach to sustainable metro transport, and what are some of the differentiating factors that make these metro projects stand out. We want this session to be interactive and engaging. We already have a lot of questions through mail. In case if you have any questions during the course of the session, please feel free to ask them by using the question tab. Without any further delay, let me hand over the forum to our moderator. Over to you, Mr. Naidu.
Good evening to all of you. I really happy to see that distinguished panelist, and it is a good representation from almost major metros in India, that is MMRDA, Pune Metro, Hyderabad Metro, and Ahmedabad Metro, and Amravati Metro. I think these are the major metros which are under implementation here. I think if you really a little bit go back to the history, in 2002, 25th December, first line of DMRC was commissioned. So since then, we have come long way, and I think DMRC itself has really had a 348 kilometers operations with 253 stations. It's become one of the biggest metro in the world. And since then, almost every city in India wants to have metros. Now we have 13 operating metros in India and 6 under construction, that is Bhopal, Indore, Kanpur, Navi Mumbai, Patna and Pune, and 14 more are in the planning stage. I don't think any other country in the world has so many metros going to come up at this in the next few years. So it's a really big, I should say that metro business in India. And as I said that from 2002 to present, we have and a lot of our last 18 years, we had a lot of expertise with metro fraternities with so many metros. And if you all see that majority of the people who are heading metros are from DMRC, that means their alma mater is from DMRC. So from there, the technologies really got transferred to all over the world, all over the India, and spread well to it. I think as a context of this particular seminar, it's the right time to us to little bit of go back to our different aspects which we have learned all these years, and to discuss about those features, what we are going to implement in next further metros, what going to come. As all of you know that metros are highly capital intensive. We certainly has to make it really reduce that to the extent possible. And we need to really work towards it, this value engineering. I think MOED is already started this. They are conducting a number of workshops to go through different aspects of the designs of the metro and finding ways and means how to do that. I came to recently the Chennai Metro, which is going to go for further expansion. They are doing away with concourse. They are putting island platforms and trying to design a station with only 2 entry exits. So it's like quite a path-breaking feature, which will quite a lot reduce the cost of station structures. So with this contest, I having all the luminaries around here, I first want all our panelists to say a few words and what should I say that broad thinking on this particular aspect of the main title of our topic, that is development of urban metro system and their roles in future mobility. Before I have a few basic questions to go through. So I request Pramod Ahuja GC to really give his line of thinking on this particular aspect of future mobility and urban transport. Ahuja ji.
Thank you, Mr. Naidu. Good to be part of this panel discussion. As Mr. Naidu already in his opening remark has introduced the subject, and that been about 18 years that the first metro was commissioned in this country in the form of line 1 of Delhi Metro, and we have come a long way since. Technologies have matured, and many of the technologies have got indigenized also. We have had this experimentation of metro in large cities, medium-sized cities, and our experiences have been mixed. So there have been quite a learnings in this journey, which is going to be our guidance for future of this public transport system. As you all know, it's a capital intensive, and and the returns that a metro system, just by fare box collection, you all understand that probably they are not enough to make it a sustainable system. So, I mean, for the future, what I see that we have to work on basically 2 fronts. That we have to look for additional sources of revenue, as well as to bring down the cost of construction and operation substantially low. I mean, that only can guarantee a future to that. The big cities like Delhi and Bombay can still find it sustainable because there is a lot of demand for it. Like for a city like Bombay, there are not many other options. People have to go in for public transport. In spite of our existing public transport system being heavily overloaded, still people are bound to use it because people don't have options. So these systems are going to be popular in cities where people don't have any other options. But in a medium-sized city, unless we make it really attractive to the user by way of reduced cost and then providing them end-to-end solutions, then only probably we can see the growth that we have seen in last 15 or 20 years, see the same kind of growth in the coming years as well. Well, these are a little bit of my thoughts about kind of future of metro systems in India. Maybe rest of the thoughts as we go along.
So Anil ji, can you just say that few words on that general the topic?
I think it's a very interesting topic. See, the urbanization would continue in the developing nations because it's like a non-stop. There is hardly any way to stop the urbanization. And mobility will therefore continue to be a big challenge. And that is why the role of urban rail mobility systems or urban rail transit system would be very important in the time to come, for making the people commute from one end to other part of the city safely in an environment-friendly manner, eco-friendly manner. So therefore, the role of the urban rail system would actually be going up and up henceforth. India, the story has started with Kolkata Metro, and then there was a pause for some time. And then with the success of Delhi Metro, the metro saga has actually started, and metros have come up in all the major cities to solve the commuting problem for the people in general. However, it's a big challenge today. The metros are capital intensive. What to do? So like any other business, if we just go on the fundamentals, what are the couple of broad contours or broad business parameters? So we have the capex, which is the first parameter, how much capital expenditure we do. We have the revenues by fare and non-fare. And we have the OPEX, the operating expenditure. So time has come that with the expertise gained by all the metros, we need to optimize on all the fronts. So we need to optimize the expenses and we need to increase the revenues. So on the capex, we need to go asset light, build as required, not build initially for 100 years or 50 years. So we should have a short-term planning, build as and when required. So asset light model is the key for success. Second is the revenues. So we have revenue models. In terms of revenue models, we have fare and non-fare, two stream of revenue models. Since the metro fare would have to be kept low, we need to more look for non-fare revenue sources. And that is why the property development and the other retail advertisement, these should be integrated well in the beginning. And the capex allotted to these non-fare revenue models should be good enough to actually generate a big part of the total revenue of the project. This is on the revenue side. Then the fare revenue, we need to look into how we integrate. Metro doesn't provide door-to-door solution. So a multimodal integration is the key for actually increasing the fare revenue. So the revenue, I would say in summary, two aspects. Allocate good resources for non-fare revenue in the beginning and plan it well. And at the same time for the metro multimodal integration to actually increase the fare revenue. Now comes the OPEX. And that is a big challenge today because in view of the safety involved, the maintenance requirement, the OPEX is a big component today. So we need to go for a digitalization, a massive, huge digitalization using the asset management system, using analytics, using IoT sensors. We need to optimize the OPEX to a large extent. That is the need of the hour actually today. And it is possible. Now the HoloLenses are coming. There are many more models are actually coming in terms of the digital aspects. So the entire metro has to go on a digital frame in terms of the maintenance, and this planning has to be done right in the beginning at the project. So that is the key. Second aspect is the having a private operations, because in a service sector, when we have to serve the customer, the service sector probably is better served by the private companies. So I think the private rail operations, that's what the government is planning now. The metro rail policy also talked about it. We need to probably move towards the private rail operations in terms of optimizing the OPEX. So in summary, the OPEX can be optimized by digitalization and also using private sector participation in the OPEX. So these are my thoughts. I hand over to Naidu sir for taking it forward.
Thank you, Anil ji. Thank you, very good. Raghavendra Pandey ji, can you just throw a little bit your ideas on this subject?
As you all know that metro has a big role in transportation of people in the city, and it's a green mode of transportation, whereas it reduces the pollution in the city. And already our cities, all our major cities have a lot of pollution due to vehicles, and the number of vehicles are being added every year. So there is a great contribution of ferrying of passengers through metro rail, and the benefit to the society at a large, if you uh, compare with other mode of transportations, I think metro has a lead over other mode of transportations. It saves a lot of time. It gives comfort to the passengers, and it saves a lot of revenue also directly and indirectly to if you see it in a totality. The funding of the metro being a cost intensive, it's a costly project in the beginning, but in the long run, the cost can be recovered, and by the various method of revenues and integrating metro with other mode of like BRTS, we are doing in Ahmedabad, we are integrating metro stations with BRTS stations, AMT stations, Indian railway stations, and we are also integrating it with high speed rail, that bullet train which Ahmedabad to Mumbai. So we have planned connectivity of metro with high speed rail also. Our underground station, Kalupur railway station, is integrated with Indian railway also and high speed railway also. Similarly, we have one more station, we have integrated it with Indian railways and high speed railways. So in totality, we have tried to cover the complete city of Ahmedabad, and to provide the last mile connectivity also, government is planning a lot of methods and how to integrate local traffic to bring more and more local traffic to the metro systems. Thank you.
Thank you, Pandeyji. Devendra, Mishra ji, can you just say a few words on this topic?
Thank you, Naidu sir, and my fellow panelists. Already at the outset, so Najibil, very experienced panelists, they have already covered and very rightly told. So, in summary, it is absolutely this is the high time because we have already traversed a significant journey in the metro systems. Almost it is kind of if we count from the day of DMRC, we leave Kolkata Metro in '97. So almost 25 years we are nearby. So certainly a lot of lessons are to be learned. Is because till now I feel it was more focused on we were providing metro solution, metro services. But now we have to thought process has to change to this. It is a commuter service. We are providing basically commuter service and providing end-to-end solution to the people. It is we are becoming part of the life of like Delhi Metro has now become part of the life of the people. It is like flying. So we have to have a feel of the on one side requirement of the people, we become part of their need, basic need. On the other side, survival is the greatest question today because being capital intensive as rightly told, and again OPEX is also very high because by legacy somehow of we can say railway or whatever, maybe I am not very correct, but certainly manpower overheads we have created on the line of railway. We are very much still very manpower oriented organization. And number two, our maintenance, all these practices by and large we followed from the legacy of railway. So we are also very much maintenance oriented. We are living still 3-4 decades back. So as Anil was pointing out very rightly, using digitalization and advanced technology, now this is the high time we should shift to optimization of maintenance. So this is basically crux of OPEX. I find aspects. On one side, we need to have minimum overheads, very optimum manpower, and also on other side, basically all the whatever is optimization cost like energy saving or wherever unnecessary any type of leakage or any unnecessary maintenance let us have. And in this is very integrated requirement. Maintenance is very much depending what system we are implementing. my station, starting from civil structures to our system, it is a kind of like our mobile in our hand, our laptops. They are zero maintenance. They are serving their life without any bylaw. In general, I'm telling, until some failure happens in once in a while. So that kind of approach has to come. We have to give a lot of thinking and provide integrated solution, which is converging into optimization of OPEX. And certainly this apex is, we have to admit that we right now we are following very huge structure. On one side, our structures that need review. Why we need so many rate increase, as Mr. I think I came to know that I think Mr. Naidu, our you highlighted that HNA Metro is now adopting that optimization of entry like that, and so many things we should do. So our structures have to be optimized. On the other side, same is about our assets. I believe particularly our rolling stock, signaling, all these systems. Still, our mindset is very traditional, conventional. Certainly, we are going to high in technology. A lot of import is happening. So on one side, we should focus on functionality. We should not load very much technology in our system. We should give more importance to functionally what is required. On the other side, I feel this is the high time we should shift to Indianization. High-end solution still we are sourcing from outside. For example, I will like to say rolling stock, such things, propulsion system still we are depending on outside India, and that is a significant part of the cost of rolling stock. So such areas, significant costs which are sourced from outside, certainly Indianization, local sourcing, although it is easier said than done, a lot of R&D and reaching to that level of quality and maintainability is a great challenge. A lot of R&D will be needed. But this is the time our thought process has to be engaged, and we have to think seriously that high-end solution, certainly for the figure wise, giving on the paper record wise, like I can say now 60%, 70%, we are sourcing from India, manufacturing car body. We should admit that soul of the such things, high end things like rolling stock, signaling, still we are sourcing from outside. Our control system, high end softwares, all these things. Now that stage has come when we have to launch ourselves in that orbit where uh, this will also result in optimization of our capex, as well as it will convert into our optimization operation expenditure. Of course, revenue alternative sources there, it don't need to be repeated. This is basically our survival is at stake. So certainly that is the area. I'm not much expert of that area, but as rightly highlighted, alternate sources, whatever is possible of revenue, non-fare boxes, that need to be basically harnessed and used. So these are the few points I like to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ji. Can I ask Mr. Surjit Madan sir to say a few words?
I was enjoying listening to everyone. So basically, there are two aspects of metro being more sustainable. One is the financial aspect. When we get funding at a very low interest rate, then it is easier for survival. Like Delhi Metro, we got the funding from JICA. Like JICA funding has also gone to some major cities. But then there are the technical aspect, which can also make it highly sustainable. So leaving the financial aspect on one side, I like to discuss more on the technical aspect. On technical aspect, first thing is, then historically, suppose we started with Delhi Metro. There, the requirement was different. When it is coming to tier 2 cities or tier 3 cities, the requirement is different. Ridership is different. Say Delhi, Mumbai, as my friend pointed out, may be viable, even fare box. But in smaller cities, even fare box is not at all viable. If we add the non-fare revenue also, it may just survive. The first thing we look at, we must reduce our capex. Technically, we must do something to reduce the capex. We reduce the cost of civil work. We try to reduce the cost of the systems. If we can reduce that, I'll come into later on, then the metro becomes more sustainable. Any additional thing like non-fare box revenue, TOD, or any other input given financially will further make it stronger. But on technical part, we must do something to reduce the capex as well as OPEX. This is all on my side on the initial thoughts. Thank you, Mr. Naidu.
Thank you, Mr. Madan, sir. So all the panelists, I think anonymously said that cost has to be come down. I think all of you agree. And different ways or means to do it is our challenge. I think all the metro fraternity has to sit down and look into this. As Anil said, digitization has to be, because that is where now Internet of Things, digitization, cloud computing, all this, we need to make a use of all those latest technologies, really, how to really reduce our metro's capital expenditure as well as a operating cost. So I now go to specific points what with the individuals. First, I request Pramod Ahuja ji. As I said that after the MMRDA, Bombay Metro is going to be the next biggest after Delhi Metro. So what is the MMRDA master plan for technologies that are going to adopt? To what extent you are adopting Make in India concept, sir?
Well, now almost every speaker has spoken about
Cost.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir, you can hear it.
Almost every speaker has spoken about sustainable metro system, bringing the cost of capex down, OPEX down, and increasing the fare box, non-fare box revenue. And sustainable metro system, definitely it is a necessity, but we should also see the other aspects of this thing. When we have a metro system, it is not just the sustainability of metro system, it is the sustainability of the whole ecosystem or the whole city. Because along with metro, it brings other host of benefits. Like there are a lot of social benefits which also we need to, then they need to be seen. Just only on commercial consideration, we cannot totally evaluate that. Although commercial considerations are definitely very, very important and required for sustainability. But the other host of benefits that metro brings with it, they are also required to be taken into account. For example, if you take a share of case of Bombay was having a public share transport of nearly about 75% of total trips being originated. But because of kind of not a matching growth in infrastructure, the share of public transport has come down from 2005 to now it is about 65%. While in every other city the public transport is growing, the Bombay was initially people are used to using public transport, but looking at the condition of suburban trains here, where the density of people traveling, it should be not more than about 6 or 7 people per square kilometer, has gone up to 12 square per kilometer. So people are forced to shift to private modes of transport. Government has to do something about it. And then government of Maharashtra has then come out with a very, very, very ambitious plan of having a complete metro network. And as you rightly said that after Delhi, although it had a public transport network even before Delhi, it's a long public transport suburban network, it works very efficiently. But only thing, it's not adequate to meet the requirements. So to add to that, Bombay, I should inform you that we are coming up with about 337 kilometer of metro network, which we target to commission by 2026. As of now, our share in operation is very limited. We are operating only about 11 and a half kilometers of metro. But that is also that you must appreciate that even with the only operating metro of 11 and a half kilometers, our ridership was something about 4 lakhs before this COVID thing happened. So that shows the kind of social benefit that it brings along. And it makes the whole city sustainable, not just the metro system. See, the benefit it brings in terms of reducing the carbon footprint. So once our system gets completely commissioned, we expect to bring down about 12 lakh tons of carbon generation. Then Bombay has a host of other problems, like you would have seen every monsoon, there is a complete breakdown of transport network, and then the huge loss of productivity, and the cost of which is probably not estimated. But if we have a kind of parallel network which is either elevated or one of the line underground also, now this problem can be overcome, and that brings in a huge kind of productivity improvement. So these are also the benefit that we are gaining. So I fully appreciate that we need to focus on making the metro itself sustainable, bring the capex down, bring the opex down, and try and increase our farebacks, non-fare box revenue. But at the same time, we should also see it from that perspective.
Thank you, sir. Well said. I now go to Mishra ji. He being the director rolling stock of Maha Metro. Sir, in India, there are 3 rolling stock manufacturers now, that is Bimal, Bombardier, and Alstom. And there are new companies like Madan in Hyderabad are also coming up. Do you think for the upcoming metros, we can source all our rolling stock requirement in India and can all be made indigenously, technologically, or at par with the international brands?
To start with, I will say, sir,
Yes.
I like to answer one word, yes. And now they coming details. Here I like to add, particularly for my Maha Metro, it is a new beginning. You named other 3, BML, Astam, and Bombardier, and you're talking Meda. One thing is that we have ordered our 34 trains, one, not 2 coaches, Titagarh. Titagarh, as you know, is basically one old private rail company, which was basically serving for railway wagons and EMU systems. But of late, last few years, they acquired a Firema company, Italy, one very old company. They have acquired, and then they have basically ventured in this metro coach building business, and we have given order. Just I like to inform that already we have finalized design, and one important part, it is a aluminium body coach. Aluminium is a lighter, as we all know, and it is having its own benefit. So that is very fantastic part of this journey, beginning of the journey. And then design is finalized. Our first train is almost in very advanced stage of manufacturing. Hopefully by month of February we will start testing, and there some 6-8 weeks, and then by end of March we will be in the position to dispatch.
Okay, great.
So planning is like that. Initial 3-4 trains will be manufactured in Italy, and then parallel we are getting ready all the facility manufacturing plant in Kolkata, this one, and so it is planning that by January here also the starting. So all the facilities, welding facility and other basically car manufacturing is starting. Of course, now it is very nice to hear, and certainly last 15-20 years, 2 decades have been very interesting in rolling stock side, where Astham came, this first Bombardier came, and then Astham. BML was, of course, from RS1, with Rotem, it was associated from since Delhi Metro days. And now they have matured and they are doing on. So it is certainly very excellent journey last 2 years when metro rolling stock is concerned. But on other side, we should let us admit, still it is just a start of the journey. I can say still we are in very nascent stage of just car building and assembly of equipment. Now story starts.
Yes.
Basic thing is now we have to think how we, in true sense, we are manufacturing here things that will make the difference. That will be the differentiator. Because right now, for all the equipments, the key components, our control devices, softwares, particularly to name like our propulsion system, our onboard equipments, the control devices, important things. Even for that matter, I tell you, sir, wheel axles, forging. Although in India finishing all these firms, but still we should admit that basic thing, primary things, still we are depending on the sourcing from outside. HVAC, all such things, brick system, of course, to name it, we have started full phase like KB or other. I don't need to name, but a few sources, of course, we have. But still, the situation is that they are sourcing very key components like compressors or many things. They are still basically sourced from outside. So this is the now this I can say this is the basically second leg of the journey we have to think over. This is the true challenge we have to face. So I will like to say it is possible, yes, but this is a challenging situation. Like any match happen when it is a very kind of initial league match, it looks we win all this, but the next stage comes, elimination stages comes. So now we have to accept that challenge, where we have to be at par with, in true sense, with all the European suppliers or Japanese or China, this one. And probably until unless we try to proclaim, yes, like Assam is basically exporting coaches, it is fine. It is very nice to hear that Bombardier or Assam are exporting from India manufactured train to Australia. But true sense it will happen when all such basically high-end technology solutions, those are basically produced in India, and as we know, it is easier said than done. Important is R&D investment, and so many things has to happen. And market is very ruthless. It is not running on emotion. Market has seized for the opportunity. If there is opportunity, certainly market will force people to venture into such thing. R&D is the part of technology. It is very capital intensive, as we all know. So these are I can't say that, but certainly a roadmap has to be now thought over. When on one side, keeping in mind our India, as we were talking earlier, how we can optimize our cost of our assets which we are procuring. So very India oriented, Indian functionality oriented, our requirement oriented solutions, rather than just overloading very high in technology just for, because right now our approach was what was available in Europe, what is available in Japan, just we are copying. Rather than now we have our own mind. We understand our requirement, we understand our also we have are in the position to basically know what is the solution. That thought process should begin. So we should match now our own solution in our own way to meet our own requirement. So that is my take this one. So this is the time. Probably a lot of experts are here, and Metro Arena has now in vibrant situation, including ministry, private metro operators. So many all these things are coming up, and also I Metro, all such things are coming. Some specification, standardization, so many things are already, thought process has come. So that is nice. Let us see, and I am very hopeful that next 5 years probably such webinar happens. Then probably we will talk very different story and different that will be there. So that is my thing. I like to say yes, it is possible.
Nice, sir. Good to know that we are making progress. And as you said, yes, future we can source rolling stock fully from India. Yes, maybe as you said, it is like a CKD. You are bringing and assembling and trying to do it, but that is a first step. I hope that we will take forward and try to in the future we'll able to Indianize this to the extent possible. I think next I'll like to go to Mr. Anil Kumar Saini. That you Hyderabad is the first metro where they subcontracted the operations to exclusive operator like Mrs. Kiles. So this is unique with Hyderabad, and whatever observations, and will it work for other upcoming metro projects, sir?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I think when the metro started in Delhi, the model adopted was a legacy model of Indian Railways, where the metro operation and maintenance was being done by the company directly by hiring the people and taking the help of the suppliers and so on to manage the system, specialized systems. However, the world over, the trend today is going for a privatization and the giving the job to the private rail operators. This is going in a big way in UK, Europe, United States also. United States now, every city is going for private operators. Australia in a big way, including in China. Basically, one fundamental is there. The job has to be done by the expert. So, if any job is to be done, today is the era of a specialist, not the era of generalist. So, whenever any issue is there, we have to go to a specialist. And the rail operations is very complex and really a specialized job. So, giving to a private rail operators was our strategy at that point of time, because we as L&T, we were not knowing the rail operations. We wanted to learn the best and engage the best party. So keeping that in mind, we engaged Keolis, who is a private rail operator. It's a French, SNCF French company, group company, and they operate almost 16 metros in the world, plus the suburban railways to the extent of 1500 kilometer Boston commuter rail network. So what they bring at the value, actually, the value on the table is that the investor or the metro authority can focus on the strategic aspect, while day-to-day running of the metro based on the KPI requirement can be done by the operator within the framework agreed between the parties. So I'm happy to share with you that the experience of giving the job to Keolis, a private rail operator, has been very successful. And we are able to manage our OPEX within 35%, just 35% of our nearest benchmark. So our OPEX today is around 4 crore per kilometer per year, while the nearest benchmark in the country is about 12 crore per kilometer per year. Despite the issues in the private rail operations in terms of taxation. So any outsourced contract actually invites GST. So all the operators staff, we have to pay 18% GST, and this GST credit is not possible. Input credit is not possible because we cannot charge the GST to the passengers. Like railways, in railways, the air conditioning travel is having a GST separate. So Indian Railway is able to offset that GST component, but metros cannot offset. Despite that fact that it's very efficient and it's very customer friendly. They bring on the table how the fare revenue can be increased, how the non-fare revenue can be increased, and how the customer excellence can come. So I must say in summary that the private rail operations is very successful. We need to possibly look into how this model can be adopted. This model is being thought of by many metro companies, but in a piecemeal manner. Piecemeal means like hiring some 100 drivers, 200 train operators. That's not probably the good. The good is to have complete end-to-end responsibility of a private to the private operator. That's probably the best model. And this was the intent of the metro rail policy as well, which was released by the government. So I am sure that most of the metro companies in future would actually be going towards that model, including Indian Railways. Indian Railways also thinking in a big way of bringing in the private rail operators. They have a challenge of unionized environment, but they're trying to see how this can be overcome. So I would like to summarize that the private rail operator operations is highly efficient. The performance is very good. It brings learning from all over the world, and there is a continuous improvement process. And that's what eventually brings down the OPEX and increases the revenue. So I think there are all plus. I can't see any minus in terms of the private rail operations. Probably it can be there if they abandon the job, but the contract framework is built in case they want to abandon the job. The complete staff is taken over by the metro authority, and Metro Authority can run the operations. So I think these are the thoughts I would like to put across the panelist and the chairman, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Anil. I think, as Anil said, that privatization to operations, giving to a expert company, seems to be the more new ideas, and I think other metros will also able to catch up with this. Now, I'll just next go to Mr. Raghavendra Pandey. Sorry. This particular Hyderabad, Ahmedabad metro, for the metro, last mile connectivity is a big challenge. So, how Ahmedabad metro is addressing this aspect?
Sir, Ahmedabad Metro, we have prepared Ahmedabad local access plan, in which these plans we have integrated all the present infrastructure and the present other type of transit systems. We have integrated it with the metro rail transit systems. Like we have integrated the BRTS, which is a very big system, bus rapid transport system of Ahmedabad, and Ahmedabad Metro, Ahmedabad bus BRTS, then Indian Railway Services. Indian Railways, we have integrated our metro stations with Indian Railway stations at Sabarmati Metro Rail Station and Kalupur Metro Rail Station. Similarly, we have integrated the coming high-speed metro rail station at Kalupur with metro rail station, underground metro rail station at Kalupur through direct entry exit structures. And we have integrated all the stadiums. There are two major stadiums in Ahmedabad. One is SP Stadium and another is recently built world's biggest stadium, Moderator Stadium. We are connecting our metro rail stations directly with foot overbridge with these stations. Also, we are giving access to big schools, colleges, and universities to the metro rail stations. We are connecting them directly through foot over bridges, or we are widening the pedestrian footpaths so that pedestrians can walk very easily to the metro stations. And we are also planning to make an integrated plan in which all the nearest mass transit systems are integrated with metro rail stations. So we have connected nearly all the major institutions, malls, shopping malls, big markets, and as I have told earlier, schools, colleges, stadiums, BRTS bus stations, AMT bus stations, Indian railway stations, and high-speed railway stations with our metro railway stations. And to facilitate the passengers, we are also planning to give a token system which they can use in BRTS and they can use in metro rail system also. Thank you.
Thank you, Pandey. It's good to know that Ahmedabad Metro is making a lot of efforts to have a last mile connectivity. I hope that is the one which is really going to improve your number of passengers coming to using the metro. I
Yes,
think
sir.
this will be successful. Now I like to go to Surjit Madan, sir. Sir, now there are different rail systems, different technologies we're using for different rail systems like signaling, communications, and all that. These being a public transport, there need to be very high level of standards, safety standards, and other things. So, what are the future technologies in the rail system to make them more intelligent and efficient? Are they likely to be there?
Yeah,
Thank
first
you.
thing is we start like metros started more from after the Delhi Metro. The Delhi Metro, when they started, the safety systems were in place, we can say, and it has performed well. Basic safety is from the signaling. So it had the ATP or automatic train protection. So almost every other metro, when it started off, it has at least the ATP, the automatic train protection. So that takes care. Then rolling stock is lightweight, whether it's a stainless steel car body or with the aluminum car body. We have both the systems in India. They are also high on the technology, like regenerations and all the things, fire safety, all those things are there already built in. So they are safe from that point of view. Then we had the track part. Track is ballastless, requires hardly any maintenance, and the pads used there are of very good quality. And that way, the track gives minimum problem. Like on ballasted track on the Indian Railways, we may have a lot of maintenance to be done, and the problems keep on coming, particularly in rainy season. No such problem on the metros. So those are the things which have really helped in the safety of the metro. Also the telecom, CCTV, everything has gone in the favor of metro providing better service, more comfortable journeys, consuming less energy. So these are all gone into the favor of. Now question comes, what next? What more improvements are taking place? That is what you would like to know.
Yes.
The very first thing is we must cut down our capital expenses. The Delhi Metro was success, and that model is good for the big cities. When we come to the smaller cities, that model needs to be modified. We must reduce our capital cost on the civil structure, even on the elevated metro. One thing which can do it, we must reduce the axle load of the rolling stock. Once we do it, then we can reduce the capital expenditure on the viaduct. We should go for better headways that can make the stations smaller. We can save on the station cost. Both viaduct and station cost is a major element of cost on the civil. This can be saved. Then we come to the signaling. If we adopt the driverless or UTO, then we have lot many savings which are not there in normal metro. The headways, the energy efficiency, everything improves. So if we want to reduce our O&M on a long-term basis, we must adopt the driverless technology or UTO. So that is not for saving the manpower cost on the train operator. That is not the idea. Overall system can be optimized to a large extent. You can introduce a train when there is large rush. You can remove a train whenever you want with a click of the mouse. So those are the things which gives a flexibility to any operator, and that can be done. So these are some of things where something has come into India, something more is to come in. Then Delhi Metro adopted AC traction, which may not be the best solution for metros. If we go for 750 volt DC or DC traction, at least transformer need not to be carried on the rolling stock. That saves the energy all through the life of the metro. If we are heavier rolling stock, we are just wasting energy. We are not getting any payload out of it. So those are the things which in any case have to become. Many cities are adopted like that. And I think more smaller cities would go ahead and make those corrections. That is on the technological front. Then with the coming in of the driverless, we will also go to the PSD or platform screen doors or the gates. If it is underground, it saves the energy. If it is elevated, it is very secure for passengers. So there would be no accident, and then there will be no human errors. If drivers are driving, sometimes there can be a human error. With this, the human error is almost gone. So whatever metro today are safe, it can become even more safe in future. This is on technological front. What would happen? Then, like you yourself gave example, Mumbai Metro Line 1 was also given to a private operator. Veolia, that was also a French company. And same Hyderabad Metro is also given to QLS, another French company. Both are almost alike. And both bring in a lot of expertise. And they also take care of training of the manpower what they employ. If more metros have to grow, then a private company operator, a professional company, not that you give to anyone, a professional operating company can bring in lot much value addition. And once they have run for some time, you want to take over the management of the operating company, you can do it, or you continue with either the same operator or with the different operator. So these are the things which will come in future also and will make more metros more sustainable.
Thank you, Surjit. I think we already run out of time, but we have not discussed the AFC. I think I'll put this question to Anil ji. Uh, for automatic fare collection, Hyderabad already introduced QR system. What will be the future trends in this fare collection system, Anil? Can you just throw some light on that?
Well, the fare collection is actually very evolving and very dynamic, I would say. By the time we implement a technology and it starts running, it becomes obsolete in practical actually. So while most of the metros in the country, we have used the proprietary-based smart card system and token system. Now the fare collection is going through a big disruption world over, and the fare collection, as like other businesses or as like other consumer needs, everything is going to the handset, that is the mobile. So the world would actually is going in respect of most of the needs to the mobile sets, what activities we can do from the mobile. So now the QR code through the mobile, which can be generated through app partners. So all the app partners, Paytm, Make My Trip, PhonePe, Go Ibibo, any app actually today, we can generate a QR code and buy a ticket, which is very easy. So the metro companies gets many channels. So we need not to buy ticket. The people can buy ticket on their own, and it's very friendly. Just touch the QR and then go check in and check out. So it's a validation at the gates. So I think the QR code system we have implemented already in Hyderabad, and most of the apps we can buy the ticket today. So this concept would actually be going forward. In terms of the future emerging technology, QR code is the one. Second technology which is coming up is the use of the EMV cards like Master and Visa and RuPay cards, which we usually have in our wallets. So these cards are going to be used on the metro ticketing gates for validation, and we pay afterwards. If it is a prepaid card, if it is a debit card, it gets connected. The money gets deducted immediately. If it is a credit card, it may be billed monthly basis, like we do other. So the metro travel is like buying any other merchandise. It will be equivalent to the same. And on the EMV or the RuPay cards, I'm sure all of you are aware, or all of us are aware, that these cards are also going to get into the smartphones. So today I can have my Visa card or MasterCard in my smartphone itself. It's like a virtual card. So again, this form of ticketing, today it's going to the physical card in terms of Master and Visa. Many metros have already adopted this. Hyderabad Metro also, we are in discussion with a bank to adopt this. But by the time we complete this, I think the ticketing gate would be modified, but then it would be actually the smart card would, the physical card will disappear, and this would actually go to the smartphones. So I see the future of ticketing in terms of QR code through smartphones, and in terms of physical EMV physical RuPay cards, and later on the smartphones, through smartphones. Virtual cards, basically. So that's what looks like the future as of now. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Anilji. Great to know that really we're getting into more into mobile and cardless and getting to EMV. I think these are the features which youngsters will very much welcome it, and they will try to when using the ease of metro uses will be increased. One more aspect is so many metros going to come here. Where is the manpower available for all this? You need to have a skilled manpower for doing all these metros. So with so many metros coming, the availability of manpower and this is a big challenge. So this question should I ask Madan sir to can save some throw light on it, because you are Amravati Metro. When you're really, how are you going to really man all these things?
Yeah, first thing is the first project which is coming in is Vishakhapatnam Metro Rail project.
Yes.
And there it is going to be on PPP model. And the OMM would be through a private company.
Oh, sir.
So this is means the same experience of the Mumbai Metro Line 1 with Hyderabad, and same is likely to be with the Vishakhapatnam Metro. And the advantage of having them is they have their standards for training of the manpower, manuals, and they impart that training to the first lead members of their group, whomsoever they hire in India. So, and then those people further give this knowledge to the other people who join the organization. So with a lead of something like 12 months or whatever somebody gets between 6 to 18 months, all people get trained. And that is the only way to train the people, because skills, because fortunately India has a lot many people who are looking for the jobs and they are already technically qualified. What they need is this training specifically to a particular subject. And that subject on metro can be easily provided by the operating company who is going to operate the metro. So this is the best way of, rather than like railways, you keep on adding the manpower, then thinking of training them, then sending them across the training, and later on getting into so much of trouble. So those are the things which can easily be solved by having the professional operators for all the new metros which are coming in. There are many companies who provide it also. There is no dearth of fund.
Thank you. Sir, I think as we'll have a concluding remarks, I think I request Pramod Ahuja ji give some concluding remarks based on the interactions what we had with all other panelists.
Overall, it has been quite enlightening session. Many people have shared their thoughts of what the future holds for the metro systems in India, and also what are the new things coming up across various metros. So it has been good knowledge sharing also. Regarding sustainability, I mean, just wanted to highlight few more things that Mumbai Metro is doing. In fact, the things like the ones that are happening in Ahmedabad Metro, many of the things Mumbai Metro is also doing, like for commercial sustainability and then fare box to increase the ease of convenience of commuters. Mumbai Metro is coming up with a comprehensive MMI, and we are kind of looking at providing kind of home to destination and destination to home kind of solutions. And that comprehensive MMI is also having a component of last mile connectivity, providing for last mile connectivity all kind of possible modes of transport. Recently, we have started providing cycles also, battery operated cycles on line 1. So those kind of things, many new things are happening. And also kind of for a better interchange between the interchange, because if you have a complex and long network and various different modes of transports also, so interchange also becomes a very, very important component of that to bring down the total time of commuting of a commuter. So we are bringing in with the new things, like we are also providing direct connectivities to establishments that are coming very close to our metro stations, some big housing societies or commercial malls or office complexes. And also for commuter convenience as well as for commercial viability of our metro system, many of the TOD projects are also being thought of and developed here. And apart from that commercial sustainability, many things for environmental sustainability is also being done. Like we have recently planted about 51,000 trees in MMR area, which is over and above the transplantation and plantation required as per Tree Act. So, I mean, these aspects are also being given due care to take the society along with us. And but overall, it has been a good and nice interactive session. I feel enriched by this interaction. Thank you.
Thank you, Pramod. Ahuja ji. Can I ask Devendra, Mishra ji to say a few words?
It was a great pleasure, very enriching session it was, and especially I'd like to thank Mr. Naidu. You started the tone of the discussion in such a fantastic, very focused and very relevant. Especially as you rightly mentioned in the very beginning that already very serious thought has been the thought process has started by optimization of the structure. That is the key. We are going to optimize our structures. Earlier, we were just making some structure on some traditional way thought process, whereas now we are focused to what is the need of the place, need of the environment. That's the thing. I think when we start thinking on that way, in our originality, when our thoughts are original, we start seeing the ground ahead of us in our own way. I think that is the basically the true journey of starting up the basically success. So that is a very I see it with very positive note, and this basically when structure optimization starts because it is very visible and very impactful. People see so, but natural all the everything starts falling in place, and that becomes a culture of basically thinking. So that is my thinking. Now that journey as an engineer, particularly, we have to think that how we are adding value to the metro system, metro arena to the people. Ultimate customers are people. How give optimized with optimized cost the greatest value to the people, and it is very much a commuter solution. And second thing, uh, as was mentioned by journalist and Mr. Ahuja, so it is very important for us to think from the point of view the individuality of the people. It is getting, for example, Delhi Metro. Although we just think that it is a big city, so it is happening, but I think it is more credit goes that connectivity from very beginning, like Mr. Sinhan was there, and thought process from DMRC was from very beginning that metro will be reaching in the reach of people in say half kilometer area or 1 kilometer. That was the thought process planning. So that is excellent. So like anybody come, it has become very much a part of the life of the people. So and same concept, although big city has the advantage certainly, but even tier two cities probably that thinking can be done. That anything we are planning, it should match with the basically people's basic requirement. That will help a lot for our sustainability as well as. And certainly, journey itself gives a lot of news of rethinking and basically reorienting and revisiting our thing. And as you rightly told, regarding manpower, certainly it is a challenge. But I feel this challenge is not only for metro, although we are very crowded nation. But when we really start doing something, then we find that useful people, skilled people, right to any area. It is either education or basically even railway also. There is always scarcity of the right people. As Anil was telling, this is basically our system is basically uh, we can do justice only when the specialists and experts people are engaged in this one. So real challenge is how to have the right people and train them using technology. Probably we have to match together right technology plus we are a nation of big population, so employment is also equally important. So we have to think in a very balanced way where optimism how we can achieve
Yeah.
technology as well as people oriented wherever it is. So like that's a mixed matrix type of thinking has to be developed. So that is my.
Thank you, Mishra ji. I think I'll now next request Anil says a few last few words, concluding remarks.
I think, sir, it's a very good session. The way you put the thought process and the direction, like what is to be done in the metro arena. And what emerged actually here in the discussion is that we need to optimize the OPEX, the CAPEX, and also increase the revenue. That's a common business sense. Then Ahuja ji actually brought a new angle, is the economic rate of return, the benefit to the society. That also to be taken into account. And that's what the project will have to be taken up then by the government in terms of subsidizing or putting the VGF if the economic benefits is very large. Then the Devendra spoke about the rolling stock, the fourth supplier they are adding to the country, and that's a real make in India actually, because the Indian supplier who acquired a company in Italy and they are doing the job. I think it's really good in terms of, and once they supply to Pune Metro, maybe I'm sure they would start exporting. So that would be really what you call Atmanirbhar Bharat actually. Then the Raghavendra talked about multimodal integration, and that's usually a missing link. And I think that's very key for spending this the investment, justifying the investment so that people can use. Multimodal integration is the key, not only for success of metro, but actually for the benefit to the society will only go when we connect the metro in the sky or in the underground to the street level. We usually in our planning miss that aspect. And I think he explained very well what Ahmedabad is doing. Madan Saab brought a good angle on the technology side, what's going to be the future of the technologies. He also touched upon the new metro coming up in maybe Vizag on PPP model with a private operator. So I think it's very interesting, very learning. A lot of new thought process came in. I'm sure this will get a video or a summarized position. So we'll be really benefiting this so that we can take to our colleagues a couple of thought process taken from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you for the nice summarization. I think I asked Raghavendra Pandey because I have more questions to him, but didn't have more time to him. I think Raghavendra, you can say that your concluding remarks.
As all the panelists have discussed, and the emphasis is on decreasing the cost of the metro because it is very cost intensive project. I will like to add one more aspect is that we should stress more on durability and quality also, so that we design the metro system for say 100 years, and if our metro system outperforms, that is it performs for more than another 20, 25 or 30 years, then it will be a big bonus in the long term. As you have seen that steel bridges of Indian Railways are all outperforming. They have done more than their life. They are means outperforming by say some 30, 40 years. So if we stress more on this thing and we on durability, quality, and try to increase the life of the metro system, then that will also help us a lot, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Pandeyji. I think, sir, Surjit Madan, sir, you can say some concluding remarks.
Cover almost all aspects of metro, how to make them more sustainable, what are the issues, what could be the solution. I think everybody has contributed very well onto the discussion, and they would all be enriched. We are enriched from listening to each other. So thank you very much. That's all from my side.
So I think I think all of you are summarized, right? Nothing much more to add, but I will say that one is important that everybody said that costs have to come down. So I'm very sure once we have all made up our mind that we need to bring down the cost, with all the metros working towards it, I think it should result how to make it less costly, so that viability comes in picture. And Pramodji has says extensively on sustainability. I'm really happy because Bombay and Delhi, they are the torch bearers. whatever really happens in those particular metros, that is going to be copied by others. So if they really try to do that, that will mainly sample it. And as Surjit Madan sir said that the requirements in Tier 2 cities are not same as in mega cities. So these particular metros in Tier 2 cities need to have a different thought-provoking ideas to really make it much more locally suiting to the local environment and try to make that. And we also happy that Devendra sir has given us the rolling stock. We are getting more Indian parties. Yes, maybe that, as you said, all technology is not with us, but right now this may be the first step we are taking to really make it indigenous and try to make it in this direction. I think that is also very important for us. And Anil has clearly said that operations has to be really can be given a outsource. That's one way of really bringing down the operation cost. I think this will be the good case study. What has been happened in Bombay and Hyderabad, these two metros which are used of private operators, how they could able to maintain the operating cost low compared to others. This can certainly be useful for all future metros because we need to come down again operating cost to that. I think as AFC automatic fare collection also Anil has given us a brief on that. I think with that contactless with EMV cards, that will be the state of art. I think with that as Prime Minister and Minister saying one card for a whole India. Maybe as the days come, we need to really make something like that. And I thank you all the panel members for the excellent inputs and thing that. And I thank you again, our Construction Week, arranging this particular video conference. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.